Hi, welcome to A Race of Your Own. I'm Virgie Rodriguez, and this is where we talk about inspiration that leads to resilience. And today's guest has a ton of credits here, and I'm going to try to read them all, but I've gotten a few. Was featured in Disney Channel's Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion, ABC's United We Fall, and has had appearances on SWAT, Fresh Off the Boat, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Gentefied, Jane the Virgin, and NCIS. He was born in the Dominican Republic. He moved to Brea, California from DR at the age of 9. This one's kind of my favorite. He learned English by watching old football tapes of the 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers that made him fall in love with the sport, especially for his brother, Alex, who eventually made it to the NFL. So that's interesting. So welcome, Juan Alfonso.
Thank you. Wow, what an intro. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
I
Yeah.
tried.
And some of those credits, I'm like, oh, I did that show. That's right. Like, I forget, like, after 23 years of, it's
Actors
like,
never remember their credits.
you do, like, I could tell you my lines from my first show. You know, like, you have this
Go ahead,
memory
go.
where, 45-year-old female driver unconscious, left sports at scene, possible facial fractures, went VTAC, VP over 24, heart rate 130s, rip story, you know, like, you just,
What
like.
show was that?
It was like, I don't know, it was like a medical drama that I played a paramedic on. So yeah, I mean, you sort of have things where it's like you run lines so much that eventually I can just like, of course now I've been a series regular and like, you know, recurring guest star, so a lot of episodes get lost in my head, but if we were to talk about a certain one, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember some of that. Yeah, it's weird.
Interesting.
It's like a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and I've helped you with some self-tapes, so I get it. I'm actually...
Which thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Like,
my bill, the invoice is coming.
My wife thanks you. Yeah,
Of course.
I think she's tired of being my
Shout out
rep.
Danielle.
Yeah, thank you, babe. I love you. Yeah, the best.
That's
the
your
best.
camera right
yeah,
there.
the best.
But yeah, you know, I feel like having you on the show was important to me because you are one of those actors that I know, you know, that really I'm not dissing any of my other actor friends by any means, but you know, you've really like kept the ball rolling. Like you've always, you're like this proper working actor, right? You've done this great stuff, and I always see you in, I haven't even put your commercial accolades. I always see you in some commercial.
Yeah.
Like, there's one.
Yeah.
There he is.
I just filmed 2 like last week. Yeah. Coming from another country, you know, through the church where my parents were you know, ministering, but other churches helped out, and they would send boxes of food and VHS tapes. Look it up, kids. VHS. You should know about this. But yeah, and so in these boxes, my brother and we would find like old tapes of like the 1970 Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl, you know, run. So everything they did so here we are watching like Terry Bradshaw and, you know, Lynn Swann and, you know, all these like, you know, legends of Pittsburgh Steelers, but no idea what football was at the time or like what this was. But we just started watching these tapes, and it would be like also like other tapes, like, you know, church, you know, like biblical tapes or, you know, or Disney tapes, you know, Aladdin or whatever. But yeah, that was a big part. We fell in love with watching these football tapes, and my brother ended up just falling in love with the sport, and it really helped him get through tough young years and worked really hard and made it to the NFL. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was just
Who
a
did
way.
he end up playing for?
He went to the Chiefs first.
Okay.
And to Kansas City, then they traded him to the
Pre-Kelsey.
Travis Kelce. This was when
Dominican Kelsey.
Yeah. Well, actually, Tony Gonzalez was there. Tony was really kind to my brother, and yeah, I remember my brother would call me like, "Yo, he's so cool," and you know. But then he got traded to.
I don't know who Tony Gonzalez is, but I just agree.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Tony Gonzalez.
Agree.
Okay.
Yeah, went to the Seahawks and then ended up with the Vikings. Yeah.
Nice.
And then did some time in Europe when they had a league in Canada.
Minnesota. I lived in Chanhassen for a bit.
Oh, okay.
A couple months.
Yeah.
Don't you know? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he was there in the snow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. Minnesota's cold.
But that was a crucial
amazing.
time. Yeah, that was a crucial time of our upbringing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex.
Yeah. No, I'm proud of him. Proud of both my brothers. I'm proud of my younger brother too, Juan Diaz. He's doing stunt work, and he has done a couple movies, and carving his own path. And so both my brothers, I'm very proud of them, and they've worked really hard to achieve their goals. So yeah,
Nice.
it's really cool.
Cool. I'm excited. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, there are people in this industry that you get to work with who are, egos get in the way, and it's just like, do we really have to do
In
this?
entertainment?
Like, yeah,
Absolutely
weird.
not.
What?
So weird.
Yeah, and I'm just like the person who's like, I don't know. I was talking to someone about, I don't take pictures on set. I don't take pictures with co-stars who maybe are celebrities or whatever. I just don't feel. I don't know. I just feel like we're all there to do the same work. We've all gone through the same process. You're just a little bit ahead of me. I'm here, but I'll be there. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like we're all just together on this journey, just doing the work. Like I don't know. I'm like, yeah, cool. I did Marriage Story, and it was like Laura Dern and Scarlett Johansson. We're all together. Adam Driver.
ScarJo.
ScarJo.
Like,
I almost said that.
ScarJo.
Oh my God!
You were like Scarlett Jo.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson. I mean, the sweetest people.
Right.
Noah Baumbach was amazing. Great director and just super kind. And I didn't have much in the movie, but it was a great experience. And it's like no egos. You could tell it's like people were there for the work. And I don't know. You learn to appreciate those little moments because you never know when you're gonna come across someone who's like, which I've had those. I won't get into it, but I've had those stories where it's like, the number one or number two on the call sheet is very like, oh no, don't. And you're like,
Don't
we're
talk
here
to
to
me.
work, dude. Like I could care less, But
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's unfortunate that happens, but
Yeah, but it
sometimes-
happens.
But it happens.
But if I would tell any actor, just be ready for it and just know that don't let other people change how you act. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it's the old saying of be the change. I think even early on when I was doing commercial work and, co-stars and recurring, it's like you see things, but also you want to be part of the change and things that you didn't like or you heard about, how people act on set or, even down to how they treat extras. It's like, we're all here to make it work. You shouldn't be rude to anyone. Let's just, I don't know. I just want to, I want to change the industry from within so that people that come in understand it's like, yeah, you can talk to the one or two on the call sheet. It's like, don't look at them in the eyes. So can we rehearse
I just
or
talked
not?
about this in one of my episodes.
Yeah, it's just very strange sometimes. To each their own, I guess.
True, and I agree. And a lot of what we talk about is purpose
Right.
on here too. So it's finding that purpose and knowing what that is. How important is that for you right now at your point in your career? Because actors are at different points. Are there roles that come up and you're like, I will absolutely not do that?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Even early on, even when I wasn't doing stuff, I told my team, I was like, I won't do gangster roles, just because like that's not my essence. Of course, I could be like, hey, what's up, dog? Hey, get out of here, man. What's up, worker? Whatever. Like I can go to a place, but there's people that live that, and there's actors that do that. And I also didn't want to get pigeonholed into like the Latino guy. Oh, his name's Juan. He can do the gangster role. Or he can do the this. It's like, so I told him, I'm like, anything comes up where I have to be a gangster or something, I don't want to get pigeonholed in that. I like character work and doing different stuff. And I've noticed through my career, which, in Hollywood, it sort of guides you. You start falling into, blue-collar guy,
Right.
Dad, works hard, maybe has daughters. I don't know. Like, you just have to, understand that, yes, you can have a vision of what you want to do, but also Hollywood ends up kind of telling you where you belong. And you can ride that, Of course, you can make choices on things that you stand on. I won't do this, I won't do that. But eventually you have to be honest with yourself and know, like, maybe you're not Brad Pitt, Maybe you're just the best friend, But
Right.
but it's okay, and you can ride that and really be good. And I think once I found my niche, I just dove in. I just went in. I was like, okay, I'm the dad, or I'm the whatever. I like it. I like doing. I can play Caucasian. I can play Hispanic. I can play Middle Eastern. I can kind of go in a lot of directions. So it was a decision I made early on to not get pigeonholed or typecast in that sense, especially shaved head and
Right.
it's like, oh yeah, gangster. It's like, okay,
Right. You're like, all right, already.
Yeah.
And, how important do you think, like, now kind of evolving, right, out of that? Because you've done so much work, so much different type of work from commercials to series regular and appearances, etc., guest appearances.
Sure.
You know, how important do you feel like the narrative is for you to tell from your perspective? Like, do you see yourself producing or writing kind of in the future?
It's so funny. My mom was just telling me about this. Hi, Mom. I love you.
Mom.
My mom came today. You know, it's an interesting thing because I guess I've been so hyper-focused on acting and just like dedicated to the craft and dedicated to, you know, it's not like a thing where it's like, oh yeah, I want to try this. You know, I heard in an interview, it's like, you definitely won't make it if you quit, you know, but if you stick it out, what could happen? You know, and I've always loved that idea of like, where can God take me? You know, how far can we go if I keep my faith and stay steady and trust and, you know, like how far can we go? And like, I'm always like excited about what's next, even though we don't know. I have no idea what's coming next, but I'm so excited for it. And I guess it's that thing of envisioning and putting things out. And yes, I spent a lot of time like, you know, big movie coming, series regular coming, you know, prepping, just getting ready. It's like already living it, even though it's not there. It's a big thing for me. Praying about it. Oh my goodness. I mean, if, you know, prayer is so important to me because it's already shown me through time how important it was before. Just looking at where I am now from when I started, you know, doing one lines on shows, you know, it's like your package is here. You know what I mean? You know, and now I'm, you know, and it's stuff that you just like, it was in my heart, so I put it out and I prayed about it. And so now we're here and, you know, I'm just excited for whatever's next, even though, you know, as you know, there's downtimes and with the strike and COVID and, you know, I was so thankful to be able to work during COVID and, you know, I had a show during COVID, but, you know, with the strike and everything, it really sucked the air out of not only our industry, but out of creatives.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard when you know, and it forces people to now think outside the box and do new things and what we're doing here, which is great, you know?
Yeah. So for you, you know, what I hear you say, you know, we take our acting classes, we do all the things we learn from these great mentors and teachers, but, you know, how important is faith to you in this? Because that's what it sounds like to me, is that you're really, yes, you pray, yes, you do, but you're really walking by faith.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the definition of faith is having trust in something that you can't see. So it's like, I don't know where my career is going, but I know that so far, God's taken care of me. And we've maneuvered this thing together. And through faith, it's like, if I didn't have faith, I would really feel like no purpose. Because then it would feel like there's nothing to look forward to. It was just like I'm just doing this for the, I guess, the vein of it. Is that a word? Like, just for like, just for like, I don't know.
The vanity of it.
Yeah, I guess for the vanity of it or for the fame or for whatever. But, you know, it really is something that I just love.
Feed narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, gosh. Right. But, you know, I think without faith, like, I would just feel like I wouldn't know how else to maneuver this industry. Yeah, like, it's that important.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then there was one of the points that I brought up was about, so you would watch these Pittsburgh Steelers commercials.
Well,
and so what about the commercial was like so fascinating to you?
So that's funny. So when we came to California from the DR in 92, you know, my parents are pastors. So we grew up in the church, you know. My dad was called to come to the United States to start a church and continue his studies. And my mom, being the amazing mother she is, approved. But you know, they came out and it was like, you know, even through that. So we saw faith in action, right? My parents taking, you know, that leaving everything they knew behind to come to a new place. I mean, we didn't even stop in New York or Miami. We're the only Dominicans.
You're one of the first Dominicans I ever met in California.
No.
Out in Brea,
right?
And then out in Orange County,
right?
Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God, there's like not very many Dominicans.
No, we're Mexican. You know, people,
to people
out here,
right. But now there's more.
Totally. But I've seen a lot more.
When I first got here, you guys were like the first.
Yeah,
one.
and my cousin, who you know, Obed and
Yamil. And Yamil. Yeah.
And so you know, like. I think
I knew three. I knew actually four. Jesse Torero was like the fourth.
Oh yeah, Jesse. Yeah. Jesse and Ulysses. Yeah. That's right. I met them.
Right.
In passing, and But yeah, I think seeing faith in action and growing up, seeing like, wow, you guys just came out here and like, started and it worked out. And, and it's like something that, my dad and I guess my parents instilled in us was, if somebody else can do it, you can't do it. Si otro puede, ¿por qué tú no? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, we just have this mentality of like, I can do that. It's like almost the naiveness of it. Just like when people are like, isn't it hard? Hollywood, like, how do you make it? But it's like, I don't know.
You just
go and go. But you also have to be honest with yourself.
Right.
You either got it or you don't, and that's okay. There's people that come and you try and maybe it's not for you.
Right.
But when you see that doors are opening up and all of a sudden I got an agent in 3 months, I booked my first commercial in a month, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. So, early on it's just, to answer your question about faith is like, we saw faith in action. So it's really the only thing we knew about how to maneuver. I'm like, how am I going to pay bills? I don't know, like get a job, go clean toilets, go, I used to clean mailboxes, for FedEx, and I would, clean the graffiti off of them. I waited tables for 10, whatever it is I had to do, I didn't have a plan B. And
you were a club promoter for a while.
I was a club promoter for many years. You know what I mean? And to be honest, it was the best job because I worked at night and I can audition during the day. I had the whole day to do whatever. People thought I was out there like, getting hammered. I was sometimes drinking water because I had to memorize lines for the next. Yeah, like, woohoo, yeah. But in my mind, I'm like running lines, But that's a dedication. And you see people who get lost in that lifestyle. They come to LA, have a dream, but LA gets them before they can get LA, if that makes sense. It's almost like they get trapped in the dream and everything LA has to offer and get lost and end up going back home with with their heart ripped out, So I think it was like having that understanding too, that I didn't want to waste my parents, they came out here and it's like, and not to put, I don't think they would feel that way, but as children, it's like, I'm not trying to mess up. My parents left everything, so I'm going to make sure that I do the best I can, and it happens to be that I found, acting and the way it came through was crazy in itself, how I started acting.
Yeah. And again, it kind of tips over into purpose and walking in purpose. And that's kind of some of the stuff that I just explore here, which is, what is that journey like? Because sometimes we don't even realize that we're walking in purpose, right? In that sense, because you're like, in 3 months I got my manager, and then another month I got a commercial, and then this happened, and then it's like, things happen to fall into place when you're walking in purpose, I feel. And that doesn't necessarily need to be so much a spiritual, religious thing, right? It's maybe it is a godly thing, in that sense, right? And some people kind of sometimes get really stuck on that because they're just like, oh, God is this thing, this omnipotent thing, but it's just, the more I've even found for me, I've even explored my faith and my kind of belief in God.
Which I've seen over the years, by the way. It's been very cool to see you grow in that and be open about it, and it's awesome.
Because I just feel like it's so important, and I feel like especially the world we live in and what we're seeing on a daily basis, the way the industry is changing in so many ways. I think, platforms like YouTube, plugging YouTube now, somebody just said that there was an article, it may have been in Deadline or Variety, I'm not sure, but they were like, YouTube is actually gonna try to compete with Netflix with original content. And so I just look at you and people like you, and we have a group of friends and group of people that we all know that create all this content, and it's great and it's uplifting and it's positive and it's going in like a great direction, right?
Absolutely.
Which is us walking in our purpose.
Yes. And I think to touch on purpose, it's like, I think early on when I was acting, I think I figured out what my purpose was within the industry, right? And it was really to love people, because like I saw so much as like, of course I had my own way of maneuvering through the industry and pushing away things that weren't good for me, but just the smallest things of how you treat people in this industry was big for me. I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to change that. I want to be the guy that's the number one on the show, but has open arms, and it's like, yes, let's how can we get through this together? You know, not like, oh yeah, welcome to my show, and I'll talk to you when
Right,
or I'm gonna leave when it's your coverage. You know,
Right.
no, you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
want to be a part of it all, and just because it's like, I don't know, it's hard work, and to then just sort of make it seem like it's like I didn't just work my ass off to get to where I'm at. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you know, it's like, no, I'm gonna go through it all, and I
Yeah.
want to be able to treat everybody the way that I want to be treated. You know, which sometimes didn't happen early on.
And it's such a simple thought. It's such a simple way of thinking to be like, I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated.
Right, right.
So, you know, if you disrespect me,
Right, yeah.
I may just disrespect you back.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's just so
yeah.
simple because it's like, what? Nobody's better than anyone.
Exactly.
You know, nobody's higher. Okay, maybe you got more
Exactly.
money. Maybe you have more
Exactly.
influence. Maybe you have more reach, so to speak. But at the end of the day, you know, the agenda here is, you know, love for one another, like Prince said. I'm quoting Prince.
Yes.
So,
and
you know,
inspire other people
Yeah.
to follow that, you know, because it's like, hey, it's okay. It's okay here. You know, I did it. You could do it too. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it's the old saying of sending the elevator back down, you know. If you get to a place, like I have no issues, and my agent and manager will tell you this. I send people all the time. Not because, and maybe may not work out,
Right.
but I want people to feel like LA, you know, Hollywood isn't this unattainable thing where it's like, oh man, how am I ever gonna find an agent? It's like, no, dude, if you know people, like, I'm gonna try to help you. I'm gonna try to help you to find an agent. It may not be my agent, but maybe there's somebody that's you know, even if it's small boutique, you know, something, just so they feel like it's doable. I think people come here and it's like takes them years, and you get deflated with like, you know, just sort of the steps that you have to follow into making it, where it's like, I don't know, just a chance sometimes.
Just a chance. Yeah. Anybody just kind of opening the door, even if it's a little bit, that gives people hope, which I've talked about before too. It's just like just feeling some sort of hope that
Yes.
there's a light at the end of the tunnel, kind of.
Yes.
And you know, again, I always kind of come back to purpose because I feel like for me, even starting this channel, starting this series has been eye-opening to me because I didn't realize even feedback that I get just internally is, you know, I'm just so glad you're doing this. I learned so much, or I'm glad I'm getting this feedback. And even just from someone like you, that's like, well, this has been my path, like, and it has worked, and it is positive, and I do have faith, and I do
Right.
believe in God, and I
Yeah.
do, you know, believe in purpose, and I do
Yes.
believe in communal thinking, you know, because I've come across people that just get in their own way. And so it's like, even when you try to be like, listen, you know, I'm just here to,
Just
you know,
trying to-
but
yeah.
I think a lot of people, we're shifting through our trauma too, right? Because that's a whole other thing. It's not even like trauma doesn't have to be abusive,
Right.
right? Trauma could just be like what we've dealt with in the industry or just in life, right? Just people being people.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a thing where it's like, I think, you know, coming to this country and experiencing sort of the rejection of like, you're not one of us, you beaner, you know, all the things that you go through getting picked on, and, you know, you don't speak English, so you're not, you know, that helped mold who I am today within this industry, because I don't want people to feel how I felt in those moments. You know what I mean? So if I can love people who aren't accepted, then I'm doing something right. Then I know that it's like my purpose was to go through that stuff, that pain, so maybe I can help somebody else not feel that, you know, within our industry, because people come from all walks of life in our industry. You know what I mean? Some accepted, some not. But I'm going to be the one that loves on you regardless, because I don't know your trauma. I don't know where you came from, but I do know that I love you regardless, you know? So
Right. And,
it's
that's
part of it.
it's so much simpler to just be nice. Like it's when people aren't nice, I'm like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
I feel like it definitely comes back, and people learn, but they learn too late, or later on in life,
Or they never want to
or they never want to learn. Right?
They just never want to learn.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important to kind of like stay on course, kind of what you're doing. And with that being said, the state of the industry right now, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of things are shutting down. A lot of things are shifting to digital. A lot of things are becoming AI.
Yeah.
Where, and look, I could ask you for your opinion on like, where do you see it? But like, none of us know.
It's so unpredictable. I mean, you can try to get a sense, but
But you're one of the few people that I know that are like actually still auditioning.
No, I'm auditioning
and still working.
and working, and I give all
Thank
praise.
God. Right.
But it's like, I think you can't dwell on what's not happening.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've never, even from the beginning, I never saw Hollywood as this unobtainable thing where it's like, I just thought like if you work hard and keep and let your work speak and treat people kindly, then, things will open and things will happen. But I don't know. I just like, even now, even the way it is, just thinking about it, like, oh man, where's it going? Like, I don't even want to go in that place.
Yeah, no.
I just want to stay in the place of like, it's gonna get better. I don't know. Right. Like, I just have this faith of like.
I think I only say that because there are a lot of people.
I know, and it's
losing their jobs, losing their homes.
I mean, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, no, and they're proper Emmy winners, Oscar winners.
Suicide within our industry kind of went big when the strike happened and COVID, people losing jobs and
moving out of the state.
Moving out of state. I mean,
moving out of the city. It's a real thing, and I'm also hopeful. So if we could be two voices
if we can
hopeful,
do it,
then great.
But I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. I mean, it's
a
the
scary
reality.
Thought. And it's a reality for a lot of people, and so that's why for me, I just find it important to keep pushing.
No, you got to keep pushing. I mean, because I know that I have a future in this industry, and it's just like, it's not going to be on my time. So I just got to do the work until the time comes. It's like, what's the saying? When luck meets opportunity, or just like being prepared. All this is it's just getting me prepared. Right. All this downtime is a mental battle now. So now you're working on, how can I get through this mentally? Not just like with work, but it's like, how do we continue, And it's been, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've grown. I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, and, just sort of showing up each day and doing whatever it takes, and, being thankful when auditions come in, when I can prep for stuff. I mean, I've hit you up a few times in the last couple of months, like, V, I need your help, like.
You need another reader. Okay, I'll read your lines with you. Sure.
Great stuff. And I'm thankful. I've been reading for some awesome stuff. And, so we'll just see what happens,
I mean, my fingers are crossed.
Thank you.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for you, but I'm also hopeful for the industry overall, because I just feel like, it's a pivotal moment for a lot of people.
And just to touch it, just to add to that, because I think this is important, is who you surround yourself around, right? If you're around people who are like the negative, this and that, like, no, like, please, I don't need that in my, it's already hard.
It's already bad.
It's already bad, So, and also the love that's around you, having a great spouse who's like supportive and understands what I do, and is able to pick me up when I'm down. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're a team. Thank God she has a great job, like, and she's not in our industry, so she's smart. But it's just like who you let into your life and how they affect it is a huge part, because I don't know, it's just, for me, it's been such a big help just having the right people around me, because it's already hard for us mentally, how it is,
I think
I'm not good enough. I'm never gonna make it, I suck. That was terrible. I mean, I've booked stuff where I'm like, I'm never hearing. They will never call me back. hey Juan, you booked the thing. What? You know, so you never know.
And that's how it happened.
Oh, that's how it
It's
happened.
happened to me like that before too, where it
Exactly.
was like I booked it.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
I did. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I
Me?
remember.
Yeah.
Me. Are you sure they want me?
Number
Yeah.
365, right? Because that was that's
Right.
dancer stuff, right?
Right.
See, I know
Right.
a little bit.
A little bit.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a legend, guys.
Am I?
She's a legend. I mean, you're a legend in the
thanks.
dance. I mean, come on, V.
Sure.
I mean,
I'll take it.
You know what I mean? I mean,
mean-
I mean, it was a very small time in people's lives where they got to see music videos or touring or things like that. Where now it's kind of like different. But you were,
I was. I mean, you know,
you're a G.
I did my best.
You
know,
man.
I think, you know, and that, you know, with the state of the music industry and where they're going and how that's happening,
Yeah.
that's all changing as well. So, you know, that was a moment in time I got to live, and I'm excited that
And
I
I
got
would
to
say a
live.
very inspiring career that you had for anybody
Thank
who
you.
looked at it, for sure.
Thank
for
you.
Sure. Even
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I just, you know,
Because it's not easy.
No.
It's not- and especially in your industry.
no, I mean, our auditions, dance auditions are different than acting
Dude,
auditions.
I don't know
Because
how
you guys go in, okay, sure, you have
Yeah.
to prep and you have to learn the lines and you have to learn the scenes. Sometimes you have to learn 2 to 3 scenes. I
Yeah.
get that. But dance auditions would be 8 hours. And then
on.
if you
And
got a call back, it was another 8 hours. So that's 2 days for an audition of a gig that they may be looking for 1 to 2 people. Because they probably already have who they need, like they already know. And then they might need 1 black girl or 1 Latina or 1 Asian girl.
Right.
So you're like fighting for 1 or 2 spots. And yeah, people I don't think really realize, even for music videos, it was that, let alone the tours. The tours was a whole other thing because
Can't
it would
imagine.
become this big production
Right.
about, the
Right.
tour. So yeah, I mean, and that's kind of fizzled. It's not
Right.
as big anymore. So I'm glad I got to live that
Absolutely.
in that era and with those artists and have those
cool.
experiences, because I don't feel like that really kind of exists. That's lost,
No.
right? It's
We're-
like
I agree.
just such a different moment in time.
Yeah.
Even the artists are different.
I'm gonna interview you now. I'm gonna interview you.
Sure.
So is it a blur to you? Does it feel like it almost didn't happen? Do you feel sometimes like, did I do that?
The only reason for me it's not so much of a
Okay.
blur is because most of the music videos that I worked on were just so big.
True.
It's everywhere, because even like, for instance, Slave, Britney,
Yeah.
there's people that dance that choreography on TikTok now.
Isn't that crazy?
And it's like years later. And I sometimes I'll make a comment and they'll be like, oh my God, you slayed. Oh my God, I was 10 when I
Yeah,
came
yeah,
home and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
10 years old learning this
Exactly.
choreography. And I'm like, you were 10,
So
oh
cool.
my God.
So
But
cool.
it's so cool because in a way, social media has helped transcend that.
Revitalize, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of bring it through kind of full circle.
It's so true. I've seen
Yeah.
video. I'm not on TikTok or anything,
Yeah.
but I've seen some videos where it's like these young guys are dancing to like
Full out.
old school. Like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
they're like trying to do the choreo from back then. It's
Yeah,
pretty
and
cool.
like recreate the music
Right,
video with the
right.
outfits and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny.
It's funny.
Some of it is really funny, but some of it is really like people really that it's interesting because even as a kid, that's how I would learn dance. Just like you would watch the commercials.
Sure.
I would watch, Janet Jackson music videos, and she was, backflipping off of speakers, and I was like, I can do that, and my mom was like, don't even try it.
Mira,
And-
no te tires de ahí.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
exacto.
yeah.
And I'd be like, Mom, I can do it, just like Janet. And she'd be like, no, you can't. Please don't hurt yourself. And to see that still happening today, but it's through now social. They watch it probably on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. There's people even teaching the choreography.
it's wild.
So I don't know. I don't. What freaks me out a little bit, I guess. Not freaks me out, but kind of is surprising, I guess, is
Yeah.
the amount of views that those videos have gotten. Millions and millions of views.
crazy.
Where I'm like, wow, this many people have seen this music video. And I'm sure people just play it over and over again too
yeah. Oh,
sometimes.
yeah.
But that's, I think, more shocking to me. It's like the scope
That's cool though.
of the reach.
Yeah.
You know,
That
because-
you're able to see the effect that it's had. 'cause
Yeah.
you're-
Yeah, because now I'm kind of Jordan Knight is another music video, the Give It To You music video,
Yeah.
which is the same thing, and people are just doing that choreography, and I'm like,
yeah.
it's so. And then I look at the numbers, so that's for
That's
me more of the.
I wish we were getting
craziness.
paid for those views, but yeah, it's
That's
fine.
a whole other
That's
thing.
another thing.
Well,
Yeah.
back in the day, dancers used to get a buyout.
Oh, okay.
We'd get an additional buyout
Yeah.
for digital.
Gotcha.
So that's
In
long gone.
perpetuity, forever.
In
and
perpetuity, forever, for the rest of my
I
life.
hate that word. I hate the perpetuity word. It's like
For the
just
rest
to-
of in all the globes.
just to take
of all the
it's like,
globes of all the universes.
Here's $500 for perpetuity, and then it's like everywhere. You're like, wow.
In all the universes
Crazy.
of all the
Yeah,
worlds
everywhere.
of galaxies, right? And you're like, okay, well,
Cool,
at
I
least I'm
guess
in other galaxies.
Somebody owns my image. Yeah.
In another galaxy too. But so kind of to bring it home here and
yeah,
like kind of
yeah.
wrap this up. I usually ask my guests, what for them is kind of what keeps them, I guess, focused on being in a race of their own. Like, what does that mean to you? What does that look like to you? And if you were to give advice to someone and like, this is how the best way I've stayed in a race of my own, that they could stay in a race of their own.
Wow, that's a great question. I think it goes back that you really have to understand that you are in your own race and not to compare to other people, which we're human. We're all gonna compare and be like, well, why did they get it? Why did they get it? But
They're not even good.
Yeah, they're not even good, but they're working, dude. Okay.
They still suck.
Yeah. I think it's just understanding, and it's something that I'm still working on. I don't think you ever master, master it, but I think just understanding that, that it is your own race, that it's your own journey, and to really sometimes my wife has to tell me dude, you just worked. I'm like,
Chill.
yeah, she's like, you just worked,
Right.
enjoy what you're doing and not what's not happening. I don't know. You know what I mean? I have to constantly remind myself, and I'm getting better at it, much better. I'm letting go of things a lot easier nowadays, and just understanding that there is no timeline. There is no by 45, of course you can have goals. Hey, I want to make sure that I've done 2 guest stars and, or whatever, have your goals. Yeah. But to put a timeline on something that you love, and I'm going to do this forever. When I'm 80 or whatever, I'll be the old guy in the commercial.
Grandpa.
Yeah, whatever,
Right.
however it is,
Right.
but I love this. So I think it's just, for me to understand that the purpose of being in my own race is continuously reminding myself that it's my journey, that nobody else, I'm not comparing, that what they're going through is their thing, God bless them. However, if their success comes early and they're going, go, just do it right, and that's my only thing is to people is if you get the opportunity to make it, I guess, or land in places that you've prayed about or thought about or meditated about, then at least do it right and treat people right and understand that where you're at is for a purpose and don't throw it away, Yeah.
Nice. Don't throw it away, for
Yeah.
sure. That's a great point. Thank
Hey,
you, Juan,
of course,
for giving me some of your time this
Yeah,
week.
anytime.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm Virgil Rodriguez for A Race of Your Own. Don't forget to subscribe.